Hey there, Flying Disc aficionados. Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a little while. Been putting some mileage on the old roadshow van. It's me, Greggy Biscuits, back here in the OTB studios. I got my man Stanley here running the ones and twos, and on the other line, none other than my road dog, straight out of Port Deposit. It's Port Deposit. I already screwed up.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Tizo touchdown so bad. Straight out of Port Deposit, Maryland. He's happy
In
with
a
par.
world where
He's
Port
ecstatic.
Deposit is a recognized city.
He's ecstatic with Eagle, and he's frustrated with whatever starts with F. He's Anthony Taylor, everybody. Give it up for yourself.
Woo! Bwah, 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 bwah. Yeah, what's up, y'all? Good to be here. Greg, it's been like a month since I've seen you.
Too long.
Crazy.
When
So crazy.
You're used to hanging out all the time.
Yeah, for that month span.
Yeah, we had a good stretch.
I enjoyed it.
You got out there. Anthony, welcome. This is our first time chatting here officially on the podcast, so welcome to a morning round with Greggy Biscuits.
It's not the first time Parker's been on the podcast, though, which makes me pretty proud.
He's been
Seen him on here a couple times between you and I think Raven and maybe somebody else. But thanks for having me.
Parker being the basket logo there up on the hat, on the shirt. You can find the swag at Happy with Par. If for people who aren't familiar, for people who've been living under a disc, tell them who you are and what Happy with Par is.
Start out right away plugging.
Yeah.
Happy with Par is merch and apparel for the everyday disc golfer with an emphasis on positive mental attitude. Because every once in a while out there on the course, you might need to take it a little bit easier on yourself. My name is Anthony. I'm from smack dab between Baltimore and Philly, in a small town called Port Deposit, with a very, very influential disc golf scene, at least locally. Yeah, stoked to be here. Just a guy that likes disc golf and started making some shirts.
Shout out CCDG.
Oh, yeah. We just had I think it was second B tier over at Three Creeks.
Mm-hmm.
There was $3,300 added to the pot, so like that's pretty huge. I played my first MPO event over there, like sanctioned MPO, and the goal was just to get cash, and I finished first place, not cash. Pretty good second round though.
Straight out of cash.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, cool club, good course.
It was
I
was lucky enough to play a little Maryland golf. Check that off the list, and we got around in at Three Creeks. Shout out to the homie there, John.
Yeah. John Murray is a pretty good guy. Shout out Kyle Van Dyke and Greg Newswanger too, because those are just my homies that do a ton of work around here. And yeah, I don't know that I've ever given them like a straight up shout out. So there it is. Love you guys.
Yeah, definitely shout out to those guys. Greg has helped out with some of the artwork on our collaboration beer this year at Worlds. So that was very exciting. And he's helped you with artwork for a while, maybe the whole time, right?
He's helped me out. He is a jack of all trades. He has helped me out with he didn't design the logo, but basically anything that I need graphically as far as setting it up for, templates for getting my tent made, my canopy. He does make stickers and stuff for me. He's got a vinyl printer. Yeah, Greg's just a cool dude, jack of all trades, and he did our artwork for the Happy with Par release at the Alt Mart, which I still have people come up to me either online or locally, and they're like, dude, the Alt Mart was like one of the most fun things that happened at World. So yeah, that was cool that we did that.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk more about the Alt Mart. We can do that now, but I was just basically going to ask you, it's like looking back, 2025, it's a blur. How did you feel on your end?
Well, my blur was only for like that month stretch. I only really hit the 3 events. I took Happy with Par to Worlds down in Lynchburg and then up to Maple Hill for MVP Open, turned that one into a little family road trip, so that was cool. And then went south to USDGC. So it's kind of like 5 weeks that I was definitely grinding pretty hard. Those are all 2 6-hour drives and then almost 9-hour drive for me. The drives aren't too bad, I can handle that, but kind of back and forth keeping up with having inventory stock and just loading, unloading, setting up the booth multiple times definitely makes for some long days. Caddying in the morning at each event, which I wouldn't have traded. Definitely love to do that. And then, like kind of always had some extracurriculars going on pretty heavily with you down at Altmart, and shout out Adam at Disc in the Dark. We had an awesome glow round down there too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, I had a blast. I definitely got home and felt like a little burnout. Didn't want to sit on the computer and update inventory or really have anything to do with kind of even making content for a minute. I was just
Hmm.
kind of getting back to my day job and being a dad. But in the past couple weeks, I'm feeling a little reignited, baby. I'm really excited for 2025. Hopefully going to Worlds again. That'll be 3 years in a row. And yeah, man, I'm stoked.
The
Trying to
Stoke.
elevate the process from the backside, the business side, and hopefully we'll see some growth on the other side because that just makes things easier.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And but it's but it's a full time gig, vending, running the website, creating content.
Mhm.
Uh, you showed up at you were running doing tournaments all year, either as a player or helping to sponsor those. So
Yeah.
we welcomed you into the vendor ranks. You know,
It
so
felt yeah, it felt kind of natural. Like I don't know. It felt like I was nervous at first for sure, but like once I started, I don't know, I guess just well, the first one I met you at Worlds last year at Smugs,
mhm,
and OTB, you guys were kind of set up across from me, so we sort of became buddies by proximity. But then, yeah, it was awesome to just kind of follow up and definitely felt like I made some friends that first round. Um, I'll just give some shout outs now. Also, Taco from
good-
Lone Star. He was vending with Lone Star. Callie was vending with Innova. And yeah, making a couple friends out there. And then it just kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't feel out of place. The imposter syndrome kind of washed away pretty quickly. And
mhm.
you just know when people are there for the right reasons and, really leading with good intentions. And it was easy to lock in with those people. I think you guys probably saw that in me a little bit. And yeah, it's definitely like I've heard it more and more now, but yeah, it's kind of like a traveling circus with a bunch of weirdos that just kind of connect. So I'm looking
Exactly.
forward to doing it again, man.
Yeah, it's got the music festival energy. It's got the traveling circus energy. And then, of course, the community is what keeps it going because, yeah, you make a few good connections at each stop, and then all of a sudden those connections multiply into your sort of fabric of your network, and then that gets easier year after year. And you
I
know,
was uh I was having a conversation with the disc golf pins homies, and we were saying that it's kind of like I don't know, like in movies, there's a kid that goes to summer camp and like runs into this girl that always goes to that summer camp, and they're like, a rendezvous. It's kind of like that. It's like vacation friends, at least for me, because I'm not doing it full time. So I look
mhm,
forward to popping out to an event, and when I see who the other vendors are, I'm like, damn, I hope we get set up close to each other, just so you can BS and have fun. So yeah, man, the community part of it is really, really cool too. Um, that's kind of why I got into playing disc golf for sure, because
mhm,
a bunch of my buddies were already doing this. It became a good outlet. I started right before COVID, but then definitely when COVID, was rocking, it was a great reason to get out and just connect. And then, since then, just helping to within my community, grow the sport, so to speak, by
mhm,
helping run tournaments or putting leagues. And honestly, I don't even do a whole lot of that stuff. I'm just kind of there when I can to help out with course maintenance. Through Happy with Par now, I support a lot of events via CTPs or sponsorship or whatever. But everybody's kind of got a role to play within the community. And it just feels really good to be a part of something. You're all aiming for the same common goal. And I think even out on as a vendor going out on tour or whatever, we're all trying to make our own money, but
mhm,
it doesn't feel like, at least, it doesn't feel like a competition for me. I'm not sure if, anybody else feels that way or not, but yeah, it's just cool. It kind of, once again, just feels like I'm building a community out there kind of the I don't want to say followers of Happy with Par, but the people that follow on Instagram, the people that support
Hmm.
by making purchases and stuff. There's, a deeper sort of underlying theme with my brand. And I think people connect to that even before I kind of really talked about it. It's just laced into the message of the brand, should have been a
Hmm.
birdie, but it could have been a bogey. That's a nod to mindfulness and I guess like being content at the baseline. And I think that as we get older, we can slow down a little bit and recognize that that's pretty cool and that's fine.
Hmm.
But yeah, just even talking to people about that has been feels like we're building a community, and I don't know. I couldn't have asked for a cooler feeling.
No, it was easy working together, as we mentioned earlier. The alt mart, it as you were describing with your club there in Maryland, it takes people working on all levels, right? It comes from you again. I was at a couple private courses in the area, and it's really impactful when an owner is working well with the club, and you have active membership, and it's not just relying on one or two people to do everything.
Hmm.
Um, and the same thing, goes through all levels of disc golf, goes through those levels of life. But yeah, we had a great time building our community there in Lynchburg, and so we definitely want to shout out the Altmart. Thanks for your help on that once again. You already shouted out Adam, but he was a huge part of that, and it didn't feel like a competition to me. But again, there's a couple classifications of vending, right?
Yeah,
And so it's like if I'm competing with other purely disc vendors, that's a little bit different. But you're offering something that is relatable to such a wide majority of disc golfers. Let's be honest. It's like I've heard about being under par, but it sounds a little scary. So I'm still not ready to really try that out personally in
right.
my golf game. So happy with par,
Yeah, it's
approaching par.
funny. It's funny when sometimes people come up to the booth and they're like, "You should have a shirt that says Happy with Bogey," and or I'm like really happy with par, and I get a kick out of that because
Hmm.
um, I don't know, like, when I was thinking of Happy with Par, I'm definitely thinking of it from my, thought process, from my frame of standard or whatever. So hearing it kind of like, it just kind of like opened up the spectrum. And then even talking to some pros, caddying for Haiti and Maria, becoming buddies with Andrew Fish and Chandler Fry, talking to
Hmm.
them about like their perspective on par and stuff sometimes, then the spectrum kind of opens up from the other end. And I realized like, damn, like we do have a wide breadth here, a wide
Hmm.
breadth of audience, of experience, and of meaning that can kind of be found within the brand. So not to come off cocky or whatever, but I don't care about another clothing brand as far as like me being worried about them because everybody's kind of got their own thing. Sure, if there's five vendors set up and three of them are apparel,
Hmm.
like I want people to spend money at my apparel booth, right? But I also just think that I don't know, I'm offering something a little bit different, and I say this at the booth as well. Like people come up and are kind of interested, but maybe I don't have their size or a
Hmm.
colorway that they were saying that they specifically wanted. I'd rather you just have a good interaction with me, looking at the brand and not spend money and then kind of later regret it or, you know, because in the long run, you'll come back. You'll see you'll see the logo, you'll remember that you had a good experience and, you know, if that's a trick to get you to spend money later or something or like to bite as, a supporter, then cool, like whatever if it works out. But yeah, I try not to get caught up in that because I'm having so much fun and I just want to, keep it going that way. So
Hmm. Keep it posy vibes
keep
only.
it posy, baby. We take fun seriously.
Over at Happy with Par, they don't mess around when it comes to fun.
We
But it's important, and again, I think people were drawn to your tent. It's, nice and bright, it's approachable, the stuff looks good, high quality, and then they find out that you're doing, the lion's share of everything, stamping, or obviously the ordering, the screen printing, and so it's a
yeah,
yeah. And again, shout out to all the other vendors too, or small vendors, and, yeah, I felt like we had a good thing going, and we have to give it obviously love to Apocalypse Ale Works.
yeah.
And yeah, they held it down. So,
Yeah, it was cool that they were just open right away to kind of do whatever we we kind of wanted to do as long as it fit into the realm of possibility. And then also, I mean, that might become like a staple spot if we're ever back in the area. I think
well,
there was a lot of people that were able to kind.
I believe the schedule has us going back to the area. So,
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of space for camping there. There was a lot of space for our vending and the putt night that we had there. And like I said, it seemed like they were just super open to kind of work with our ideas. So that was awesome.
for sure.
And I was gonna say too, just a second ago, talking about the vending thing, like talking about the community bit too. It's kind of cool to me that on my second year, I'm meeting vendors that are there for their first year and they're asking me for advice. Like, yeah, because once you kind of get your footing, right, it just feels, I don't know, or at least it feels like it comes kind of natural to me. So
Well,
shout
again,
out to Ridiculous Concept Dies. I saw them at two events this year, and I was just taken back by their excitement. It reminded me of myself last year.
lift the curtain. I mean, again, you kind of had a fun experience because you were, like you mentioned, doing the caddying in the morning,
Hmm.
focusing on the vending, kind of when the biggest crowd gathers, which is like makes sense logically because without a huge setup, people can kind of address what you have relatively quickly. But it's more about, hey, hit people when they're standing around and kind of waiting for the next cards to start, MPO
Yeah.
cards to go off. Take us through the day there at Maple Hill. So
All right. All
lift
right.
the veil for people.
All
I
right.
have
So
I have
Maple
my
Hill,
routine, but I was happy with par. What was the gig?
Maple Hill was a family trip. So
Hmm.
I had my lady and my son up there. My boy is 4 years old. So, it just adds another kind of dynamic to the trip. So we had this cool little Airbnb. They would usually stay at the house. I was getting up kind of early. Shout out to Maria Oliva, who I caddied for 4 out of 5 days. Was it something like that? Um, yeah, so I was kind of up early. We were teeing off about 8 a.m. each day. So trying to get over to the course by, 7:45-ish, a little bit earlier if I can. Hopping on the bag with her. And then, yeah, so we walked the course, right? Which when the first time that I ever really caddied a pro tour event, I had caddied like once for a friend of mine at a tier around here, but I did with Haiti, and yeah, it's a lot of walking, but it's a lot of fun, and so I didn't want to pass up that experience either. Because I mean, I'm a fan of disc golf, man. So getting to be that close to the action is pretty rad. So basically, back to Maple Hill, right? It's you kind of feel like you're like I'm on Maria's team. Like what happens for Maria happens for me. I really was
Hmm.
feeling invested. And
Hmm.
we didn't really talk a whole lot about games. She's kind of wants to do her own thing as far as that goes. But I'm there to represent, happy with par and kind of just as a friend, chit chat sometimes when it feels like we want to talk about something maybe not on the course. Things are going well or things are kind of clicking. We're talking about the game a little bit or strategy. But yeah, a lot of fun there. I wouldn't pass up that experience. Kind of thought like, I'm losing a couple hours at the booth. I hope this doesn't. But again, all in all, I probably wouldn't trade it. And it was cool too because I would get messages on Instagram from people like, "Oh, walk up to the booth and you're closed." I just hit them real quick. Like once I'm off of the card with Maria, I'll probably be over there around noon. So I really was kind of getting the booth open around like noon, 12:30. And like you said, it kind of worked out that it was a pretty good time. There's a lot of people gathering, ready to watch FPO finish up, and then kind of watching MPO cards start to go out. So I'm there before lead MPO leaves. So good bit of time to kind of catch some of the hustle and bustle of the spectators. I try to be pretty engaging too. So I'm hanging out at the front of the table, like hollering at people, just having fun. Made
Hmm.
quite a few friends out there. So there's always somebody that I can heckle a little bit. Yeah, and then rock the booth kind of till that lead card MPO is gone. As you know, it slows down a little bit in Vendor Village. That becomes our chance for, I don't know, grab a little snack, do a little mingling. I'm at
Hmm.
the booth by myself all the time. So I don't really have like backup. I don't have somebody to hop in and let me go grab lunch. aside from maybe a couple friends now that I'm meeting on tour. Shout out Caleb from Pure Disc Golf. When I see him out and about, sometimes he'll come over and watch the booth. Same Chandler, that's my homie. Um, but yeah, man, just kind of it's kind of just a nonstop, all day long social engagement. And then I guess the end of the day is kind of like figuring out, all right, do I pack up now or do I hang out for a little while longer? There's some stragglers.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then I would just kind of head home, cook some dinner, get cleaned up, watch the Vince McMahon documentary every night when I was up in Maple Hill.
Just some
Me and
wholesome
my boy,
family centric
yeah,
entertainment.
yeah, the Vince McMahon story, and then yeah, just kind of back at it the next morning. So for 5 days, it's kind of like up at 6 and then, get to bed. I don't know. My normal routine, I'm dozing off around 9:30 to be honest.
It's a great
But
time.
it was it was some long days. But yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of
Definitely,
fun.
definitely packing it in, and yeah, definitely representative of I think the experience there for people, especially when you're fighting most of it solo. So
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to get away. It was a
It
contrast of our time in Lynchburg, really. 'Cause it was like I hardly saw you at all in Massachusetts.
yeah, really. You guys were just kind of set up
Opposite side of the barn
on the
there.
opposite side of the bar, and yeah, I was doing some quick runs over to try to check in every now and then.
Yeah,
So
we did okay.
we got
Fun
it.
weekend.
Yeah,
I obviously love a lot all the work that Steve does. Steve Dodge out there at Maple Hill, making it happen. Haiti Line, she's come up a few times in this conversation. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Clash and your kind of developing relationship with her. Again, a player who we were super excited to have on Team OTB and representing us this year in 2020. What year is it? 2025. Crazy.
next year. Yeah. Yeah, and that stamp that you guys did for her is so cool. I love that one. I know she was really hype on it too. But yeah, I mean, I guess around the time I started the Instagram, maybe it was like I don't know, like 9 months in, I got a hold of a Clash Mango, just posted a video of it or something, and yeah, just started kind of a back and forth with Clash via Instagram. When I was a teenager, I was, skateboarding a lot, and I was very much cold calling phone numbers out of the skateboard magazines, trying to get free stickers and hats and shit. And that kind of carried over when I started talking with Clash because I don't know, I just really was digging the aesthetic at the time. I guess Nico was playing for them, and
Hmm.
they were just starting to put out some really cool marketing. And so I just hit them up and was like, if you ever want some more support in the way of the social media stuff, I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. I really dig what you're doing, and just kind of became this thing where like once a month for like 4 or 5 months, a box would just appear on my porch, and I'd get a bunch of new Clash molds, and they would never really message me back because they're finished, right? So it's the owner and his
A stoic people.
yeah, yeah, right. Not a whole lot of small talk going on, just straight to the point. So yeah, I got to link up with them. It's kind of three guys that really run the deal. You got Timo and Marku. Timo is the owner, and then Marku is, I think, kind of the numbers guy, something like that.
Hmm.
And he speaks a little bit better English. So yeah, we just kind of started linking up through Instagram. I guess 2023, they messaged me at the beginning of the year and asked if I'd be interested in being on Team Clash, which was really cool because I mean, I'm a pretty average disc golfer, I think. I can hang with my local crew here and there, but like I could never hang with the guys on tour. Um, so it felt interesting that they were asking to, kind of support me in that way. But also, I'll go back and say, kind of coming from that skateboarding world, like that's a dream. Like every kid skateboarding wants to become sponsored or something. So I jumped on that. We worked together throughout the year,
Hmm.
and then I guess they were just appreciating what I was doing because as much as I could, I was trying to rep the brand and just kind of grow their footprint where I am, which is not a huge place, but I do have a pretty awesome community. I border two other communities, Delaware Disc Golf, which is pretty uh, pretty old club. I'm gonna say they've probably been around since the early '90s, and yeah, so just kind of started pushing Clash around here on my own and telling them if you need help with anything, I'm more than willing. Like I want to support. So then they asked me, would you be willing to be the team captain for next year and put together a team and whatever? You tell us what you need and we'll work on it. So kind of went from there. When I got them to fly over here at the beginning of this year for the Northeast Disc Golf Expo, that was really kind of what set it off.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I helped them get their kind of booth assets put together. We set up at the Northeast Disc Golf Expo this past January and did the kind of pre-release of the tone stuff. So that's the undermold technology that they released this year. It was a hit. Really good guys. They're really, really funny. We were able to kind of break through that language barrier, and now we're having awesome conversations. I think we're really on the same page. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot of work with them in the future. And then kind of the thing with Haiti was, she's Team Clash and I'm Team Clash, so you're going to be
Hmm.
my friend.
Hmm.
So at Worlds at Smugs, when her and Sasu would come walking by, I would just be yelling and cheering for them, and they had no clue who I was.
Hmm.
I didn't. I followed Haiti on Instagram, but like they didn't know who I was at all. Um, so they come off the course because where we were vending there was right at hole 18 on Fox Run. So
Hmm.
they finish up the round and kind of walk right off. So yeah, I really just kind of forced my friendship upon them. And
Smart.
then yeah,
Good folk.
after say that again.
So good folk. Good folks to do that with.
Yeah, they're good people, man. They're super wholesome, and Satsu is really funny. He and I talk about music a lot. So, like I said, I think Haiti just kind of got drug along. She's like, all right, well, Sasu likes him, so yeah.
Our
Um,
our friends.
and we talked a bunch on Instagram, a little bit about like mental game and stuff when I would follow her performance in tournaments. And then, yeah, leading up to Worlds, it was just we were excited to kind of hang out. Um, I was trying to organize like an autograph session with her at my booth, and that's when she asked, like, maybe you could caddy for me at Worlds because Statsu is not going to be able to come over.
Hmm.
And that was so much fun. I know the Clash lineup pretty well. I've been watching Haiti for a while, so I kind of understand her game. So
Hmm.
being on the bag with her was much more talking disc golf, talking strategy, really in the moment, um, talking about the mental bit when we needed to kind of reel it in because both of those courses were kind of crazy. New
Hmm.
London is super tight and wooded, right? And then Ivy Hill on the golf course with OB everywhere. Um, but yeah, man, it was so much fun watching her play. I think that she said that was her second Worlds, and she finished eighth place, so top 10. So badass. Couple mistakes, she could have been in top five. I ain't gonna bring that up to her anytime soon.
I
But
mean, yeah, she definitely had a strong season, definitely putting herself in position at a few of the tournaments in Europe to podium
mhm,
and just, individually, like really, really impressive stuff all throughout the year from Haiti. And getting back to the caddying and the positive attitude, it's like it's a huge thing. I've noticed when I was on the bag with her, again, when she's smiling, when she's feeling good, the game is there. And
yeah,
then you just need to, like so many of the players, you got to stay out of your kind of dark place and, have a short
yeah.
memory and move on to the next shot.
It's kind of different witnessing her compared to my kind of like mental thing
Oh yeah,
because,
your meltdown's a real tragedy.
well, it's just funny. Like my me and a lot of other players I've seen, it it kind of manifests as being, kind of upset with yourself for not doing what you can do or think you can do. And watching Haiti, it would become this thing where she didn't get, like it wasn't on the tinge of being irritated. It was like her confidence got really shaky, and she would just be really thinking about the mechanics, and because
Mhm.
that's where she's at, man. Between her, she has Coach Eunice, and then she has a mental coach as well. And she's told me, that they, um, her and her coach, they talk a lot about the mechanics of disc golf, and this is what she's worked on a ton. And if you watch her game, you can see it. So when she gets to overthinking the mechanics, even when it's just putting,
Hmm.
and she doesn't feel confident in her putt, it's tough to watch because it's like, I know that you got it. We all know that you got it. You just forgot that you have it at this
Hmm.
moment. And so, yeah, like, and I felt like my caddy job went off of the course too, because if you remember, like I was kind of scrambling to grab a basket and get back to the Airbnb for her, which
Hmm.
again, shout out to Adam from Disc in the Dark because, yeah, that was part of it for me. Like I really wanted her to be able to feel confident going into that next round because, like you said, man, when she's smiling and feeling good, it's like really awesome to watch her play. She's got all the tools in the bag and it'll click soon for her. Yeah, I think very high ceiling.
Indeed. Wow. So a lot of highlights there in 2024. We did get the fact check. 2024 still active, almost over, but not yet. And so, give me some highlights musically. I know there was some big shows you caught, but
Ooh,
anything in particular that was your on your highlight list?
you know exactly where I'm going, baby.
I
But
know.
I made it out to Red Rocks for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard double set this year. They played set during the day. I think it was at like 1 o'clock or something like that, maybe like 1 to 3, and then they played another set that evening. Huge shout out to you, Greg, for linking me up with a new friend out there.
That's right.
Um,
Our mutual
yeah,
buddy
that was
Pat.
that was a pretty cool interaction, and it's funny too because now I've seen him in the King Giz fan page online a bunch.
Okay.
And just the other day, like I posted something, I saw somebody post a King Giz dyed disc.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, hey, might as well give the shout out. This is my brand. I play disc golf. I'm a Giz head. And like the next thing you know, there's a separate page now called the Silly Billy Disc Golf Club. And it's just King Giz disc golfers, and Pat's in there already.
Oh
It's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, man. So going to see King Giz was pretty sick. I say my other musical highlight. Let's shout out the Alt Mart again. I got my buddy James Nasty, so a DJ producer that I used to work with when I was making music. He came out to Virginia and spun some records at the Alt Mart. That was really really cool. It was fun for me because I enjoyed getting to hear him play again. It had been a
Mhm.
while, but also he's a disc golfer. He's a musician, making that overlap. And then again, the community thing. Like anytime I'm running something or involved in organizing something, if I can pull in the homies to help first, yeah, that's the way I want to do it. So that was really cool, man. And then actually, I'll just put it out there too. I've been jamming again, so we might
Well,
be having a little
that was
something
my
something.
that was kinda how I was gonna wrap things up today. Was I gonna ask you to sort of elaborate a little bit on your personal musical history and maybe shout out your favorite project that you've worked on. But if you have a new project, I mean, shout out
Well,
that
it's
too.
not. It's we just got a couple garage band recordings on the phone going, but it's feeling pretty good. Um, but yeah, I've made music a bunch over the years. I wouldn't say that I'm a musician. I'm
Mhm.
not classically trained. I don't really know how to read music. I don't know how to play anything um, except for dabbling. I can keep a couple beats on the drums. You know what I mean? I like dabbling on the synths. I can read tablature and play some bass. But mostly, I've always been a front man. I guess I'm kind of an entertainer, or I like to think that I am. So I put out a couple mixtapes back when I would rap. That was
Mhm.
around like 2012 to 2014.
We'll have to
That's when I
we'll
met
throw those
James.
in the, we'll put those below in the bio.
That's when I used to hang out with James Nasty. So sometimes I would like show up to the club and MC his set, and then he would just give me like a space to do like to like spit two or three of my originals. So that was really cool. Had a lot of fun doing that. So I was definitely like a rapper. I was like spitting on some like
What was your rap handle? What's
Talo,
your MC handle? Taylor?
Talo, yeah, Talo, aka Fried Drexler, aka Big Milk, baby.
I know Fried
Um,
Drexler.
Yeah. They all were kind of like alternative egos within the Taylor world.
That's just your last name.
Yeah,
Dropping
Taylor.
the R. Yeah,
Just drop the R.
Taylor.
Um,
I
but
like it
yeah,
as
I've
a
done
five.
some
It's like sort of like a Pelé or a Philippe Duclos.
I mean, I thought it was pretty sophisticated.
Taylor.
But
All caps,
all caps.
double
When you
space.
spelled a man damn name. Uh,
Space the letters out, maybe? I don't know. I'm visually just seeing your
yeah, you
logo.
put one space in between each letter.
Right.
But yeah, I did some wild things as Talo. Back in the day when Diplo was a little less mainstream, I was emceeing sets in Philly a lot between James Nasty and DJ Sega. So I kind of found myself a couple times like on stage at Mad Decent Block Party spitting, which was pretty cool. Um, and then yeah, just kind of like I put out a couple mixtapes on my own. The one that I would promote the most was called Nuggets. There was an episode of Wife Swap with this kid named King Curtis, and he was really upset when the new mom took all of the chicken nuggets out of the fridge and replaced them with healthy foods. And so I made this whole mixtape where I chopped up clips from Wife Swap, so it was like me and Curtis talking to each other, but taking it out of context to where
Hmm.
nuggets maybe represented, other things. And yeah, that's probably the one that I would promote the most. Nuggets was pretty fire.
All right, look up Nuggets from Talo.
Yeah,
Available where you stream music, maybe.
I'll I think actually I never posted that stuff on like Spotify and iTunes. So
Well,
you got
just
to go
become
through
friends with
Bandcamp.
just become friends with Anthony, and
Yeah,
he'll send you the link.
yeah. Look it up on Bandcamp. And then after I was doing the hip hop thing, one of my old buddies hit me up. We had this band in high school that we started at the lunch table, and we would just make songs to make fun of our friends and their moms, all in fun. They're sitting right there, and it's just kind of like a
Hmm.
fun thing. So yeah, it was like joke songs. My buddy Sean had guitar class, so he always had his acoustic with him. Um, so yeah, fast forward to 2015, after the hip hop things kind of chilling out for me, me and my buddy Sean started jamming. We bring that back, and that was called Plague Bubonica, and it was surfy punk, sometimes hardcore influence, but I wouldn't say that it was any of those things.
Hmm.
It was it
Genreless.
was yeah, it was fun. Um, yeah, and then these past couple years, I haven't really been making a whole lot of music. I did like two or three little projects where I put vocals on stuff for other people or dabbling in the basement. I got my rolling down here and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I really want to get back into making some music though. That's another little part of the creative cups that I feel like is kind of getting low and I'd like to
Mm.
start filling that one again. So
I did
look
leave
out.
my drum kit here at the shop for the same reason because I feel like I need to get back on there. I feel the beat.
It's good for you, man. It's
It
just so
is.
good for you. And also what's kind of cool, I think, that I've realized more through even like Happy with Par is I've always, through these creative outlets, have kind of everything's been really silly that I've done. Everything that I've been involved in has been pretty silly, really fun oriented. Even with the band, like a lot of our songs were kind of goofy and stuff because I maybe just felt like there was already so much covering political topics
Hmm.
and emotional stuff that I just thought it was cool to like create a space to just have fun, like just goofiness. And like one of the songs that we had was called "Not a Bad Day," and it was if it's not a bad day, well like that's good. It don't have to be some crazy great adventure to be like a good day. And I just kind of realized that within the past like year and a half, wow, that's what Happy with Par is too. Like it's the
Exactly.
same message.
Hmm.
Um, so I say that to kind of bring up the mental health bit a little bit. And like this is something that I think I talk about a lot because I've struggled with it throughout my life, and
Hmm.
I still do. But like I said earlier too, as you get a little bit older, it's easier to kind of slow down a little bit and kind of even like recognize that stuff. So it feels really good to me to kind of like convey this message. And if it starts to click with people, they think, oh, damn, I already know that, but I'm glad to hear it again. When it resonates with people, when I get that feedback, that feels really, really good too. And I know that both I'm doing something good for me because I'm, getting the word out there, but also in turn, maybe I'm, even if it's in the smallest bit of just being a thinking cue on the disc golf course or something that I say in the interview about the overlap.
Hmm.
It's pretty awesome to think that I'm doing something good in the world, right? Like, as small as it might seem, it's, I don't know what I want to do. I want to do something good. I want to leave positive impact. So
I think as people who care about the growth of disc golf, it's something we can be proud of. Uh, Getting people physically active, getting people's minds right, just kind of giving people that safe space or a recovery space where they can kind of grow and heal. And like you said earlier, with the guy who was like, "Man, you should make happy with bogey." It's all relative, right?
yeah,
So
maybe it's a goal for him now. He's setting the bar so he can say,
hey,
so
when you're sitting at triple,
he
bogey
can
looks
par
good.
that hole that
Not
he hasn't parred yet, you know?
yeah, and then that's a
But
win.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And um, you said the thing about the recovery space too. Like,
Yeah.
I've never had any issues really. Well, that I shouldn't say I've never had any issues, because that's that's a lie. Through my 20s, I definitely had a kind of wacky relationship with alcohol for sure.
Mhm.
And that's probably not a like a super exclusive problem to me. I think that
Mhm.
people definitely go through that. Some people get sober and some people don't. Some people
Mhm.
learn to manage a little bit better or not. But and then also, like PTSD, that doesn't just come from being a veteran and stuff either,
Mhm.
right? People have trauma, stress, or whatever that they deal with. And we hear people all the time being, involved in disc golf, showing up to events, or maybe I do because these people gravitate towards me because of what I'm, putting out there. But I hear people come and tell me that all the time, that it's given them a space to, yeah, just kind of heal, like you said. Something to aim for, something to take their mind off of whatever. And then the community side of it too. Like, you just found a bunch of new friends just because
Mhm.
you care about this one thing. I know some disc golfers that I love playing with on the course, and I probably wouldn't invite them home to meet my family, but but they're awesome people that I get excited to see. And then other people from the disc golf course that, man, we've cried together, like had heart to hearts, and just the wide breadth again of the community. And I found a role in it too. I
Mhm.
found my role as the Happy with Par guy. I can help organize merch for my club or for myself. I've got something to offer in the way of working on designs and prizes. And that's given me purpose and it feels fulfilling. But, back to kind of the mental health bit, the depression bit a little bit, like, you know, I like to be open about this stuff. I don't feel super embarrassed about it. So,
Mhm.
I'll say there's been times where I haven't had the creative outlet, or maybe winter blues or whatever. I'm not really involved in something, and it makes me feel kind of like, what's my purpose?
Mhm.
So the disc golf scene kind of gave me that. I mean, it's, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you kind of don't get it.
Yeah.
And I remember when my friends were playing, before I really got into it, I used to tell my buddy, who's the president of Cecil County Disc Golf, one of my best friends for, almost 20 years now. I'd be like, it's a phase. You'll get out throwing these frisbees soon enough. And
Mhm.
like, he looks at me as like the guy that hated disc golf.
Right.
So yeah, man,
We've
if
come so
we can
far.
get other people into it, if we can grow the sport, because once it clicks, it just opens up this cool little world that you can be involved in.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you and your message and the kind of thoughtful place that it comes from. And so it's really important to have that, especially in today's climate. So yeah, we can wrap it up. Let me know what you are excited about for next year, 2025.
Yeah. My big thing is Worlds in Finland. I'm really
Okay.
trying to make that one happen. Obviously, it would be sick because I would be able to vend at Worlds 3 consecutive years in a row. That would be pretty cool. But also my Clash brethren and my new Finnish
Hmm.
friends, it'd be really awesome to visit, get to see Finland in the summer, and it'll be a family trip too. So like my kid will have an international trip under his belt at 5. That's badass.
Heck yeah. I mean, again,
Heck yeah.
there's a big old world out there to experience. And so it's been
Yeah, I
fun.
want to see as much as I can.
It's been fun hanging out this year. And Shout out to Happy with Par, obviously. Gatekeeper, love those boys. It's just, again, it takes a whole series of communities all over the country
Today
and then
is
all over
Derek's
the world.
birthday.
Oh, shout out to the D-Man,
Yeah,
D-Rock.
happy birthday, Derek.
There we go.
This is your present. I wore your shirt today.
Purple Friday. What a day to be alive.
Yeah, thanks for
Anthony,
having me on, Greg. I appreciate you, dude.
yeah, homie. It's my
Tell
pleasure.
Danny I said hi.
I certainly will, and I hope to see you
Thanks, Stan.
in Europe next year. Stanley gave a a knowing nod and a thumbs up.
Right
All right,
on.
we'll let you get back to life in general. Thank you for joining us once again. Everyone, stay tuned. We're going to be banging out these podcasts. We're back at it. We're here in Stockton. We're making it happen. It's been morning rounds with me, Greggy Biscuits, and where is he? He's over there. Anthony Taylor of Happy with Par. So check out his site and stay tuned for more from the OTB Podcast Network. Okay, bye-bye.
Deuces.